that creative agency is really. I remember I changed the topic to talk about Galahad and constellation stuff because I think I was about to say something about exactly this, like this kind of creative agency of eurythmy and like I've used the word eye contact and I spell it with an I, kind of like an iPhone, and it also goes with like eye contact is in contact epistemology and iconography, such that it's like this when we develop this faculty to pierce the images and in this iconographic way, then this creative agency of like semiogenesis, and I think a word they used one time in terms of like
Meaning making.
yeah,
That's
meaning
what
making,
Reiki
and
talks about
I
all the
do that
time.
every
Meaning
time.
making, yes.
Yeah, and I do that every time I speak. I'm like kind of immanentizing a form in a way. Like if I say dog, then it's like, and it's also every time I, even the slightest smile. It's this complex music, and I think that we can become musicians in this regard, and we can also learn to kind of vibe with the music around us and through other people. It's this creative agency with regard to the forms that we iconographically embody in a sense, like yeah.
Yeah, and I think you could say that eurythmy, you mentioned how Steiner says that eurythmy is kind of transforming the entire body into a larynx.
Yeah.
This is an interesting way of putting it, right? Because
Yeah.
you could see eurythmy as this attempt to close this gap between the bodily and the noetic.
Yeah.
It's because it's transforming the entire body into a noetic instrument.
Yeah, or at least just having the interplay where it's like a true consummation where they're always kind of connected and there's this back and forth of heaven and earth.
Right. Well, and that's already there. There's always this kind of reciprocal thing. But what eurythmy I think is aspiring to do is to bring that entire reciprocal process into the purview of our active agency, and so it's moralizing the entire process potentially. And I think that's what Steiner wanted. He wanted it to all be within the purview of the human moral agency, because for Steiner, moral agency and intellectual agency and creative agency are all they're really all the same thing ultimately.
Yeah, and it would fit insofar as like the thing, the ego is the is the moral agency of determining what is Christ-like, what is Luciferic, and what is harmonic. And in this creative context of like music and eurythmy, it would be what is on that middle pillar, and in my actions, like Venus and Mars, I suppose, and then the solar principle in the middle, and or Lucifer and Yaldabaoth and Armon, and the solar music, the middle pillar with Tiferet, as like on one side you have overly conscious, leaning too far towards the noetic realm, where we're like imposing forms on the body in a sense, and like very conscious and deliberate. Starting to use the word mime. The way that I think about it is kind of like magic, insofar as like Lucifer, you've got like the magic, he's got the staff of Caduceus. It's also like medicine, and how I think about the like language is magic, such that alright, I gotta collect my thoughts. When if I'm speaking, I'm doing magic all the time, and like if I'm very contrived in my magic, this can be like overly Luciferic. But then on the other side, it's we're talking about the marriage of heaven and earth, right? So again, on the earth side, it would be kind of the unconscious aspect of the body, or like the natural being of the body, like the natural will almost. And then to bring the gnomic will into harmony with the natural will, then you have eurythmy. And we were talking about how the Christ, we're developing this ego agency such that we can perceive and be selective in regard to what we create in our kind of musical being in this regard, where where we would be able to really dial in on that balance or something. I'm really struggling. I just wish I could articulate it so well, but we're getting there.